Okay, so 917 WCUR The Curve. We are here with Dog Beach, or also known as Bob. What was your last name?
Mashio.
Mashio. Okay, awesome. This is our first interview that we're going to be posting to the Instagram. So, woohoo! It will be
Yeah,
so,
that's pretty cool.
yeah,
Thank
right? You're
you.
our first one. And hopefully it will go up on a YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, we're gonna see if we can get that up and running again. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to interview you. Can you kind of introduce yourself, like give like a brief description of like who you are, where you're from, how you got started, just like a brief overview.
Yeah. So my name's Bob Mashio. I am from South Jersey. I live in Cape May County, and that's ultra South Jersey. That's like as south as you could get. I'm sure everybody in your area is familiar with it. Like you probably come to where I grew up in Wildwood and Cape May, Avalon, those fun places. I've been playing drums since I was like 3, 4 years old.
Oh,
My kids do too. They're 3 and 4 years old, so they bang on all the instruments and they're figuring it out. They, play with Logic and all the stuff on my computer and record stuff. But
oh, that's so cool.
that's
I bet
that's
yours is
that's been
too.
doing it forever. And I always been in bands with my brother. We did the School of Rock when we were little, that Paul Green School of Rock, which I don't know if it's still Paul Green, but that gave us the chance to play on like the Trocadero stage, the TLA stage, the Electric Factory stage when we were like 12. So we're like, this is fun. Let's keep on doing it. And we did our own ska band, played with bands like the Supervillains, the Movement, and our other band that was my brother's band, Cold Tides. We played with like Buck Cherry this past summer. We played the AC Beer Fest. And then this one is all me. Dog Beach is me on every instrument. I recorded the drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals, the
Wow.
keys,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
the saxophones, alto, baritone, tenor, a little bit of trumpet, and mixed it all. Except for the EP, I sent out to this guy Mick. He lives in like Ibiza or something in Spain. Does a lot of club mixes. He killed it, and that's pretty much it. That's Dog Beach in a nutshell. There's no real genre. There's no real aim. There's no real mission other than let's come up with some cool music and record it and then play it.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were like a one-man band. Like I didn't know that it was just all you.
Yeah, I mean, I actually ran into a point like I put the EP out and it just started moving on its own. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen this before. And I had to turn down shows because I'm like, yeah, I'm just one guy. So I had to start pulling my friends out of the grass and say, hey, I need a bassist, I need a guitarist, I need a drummer. And we finally have shows booked. So that's pretty cool. And
That
it's
is
no
so
longer just me, even though I think all the recordings in the future will probably just be me still.
gotcha. Well, yeah, because I saw on your Instagram there was like one video of like you and two other people. So I was like, oh, well, is there more people? And then on Spotify it like just said your name. So I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, and
But
the
yeah.
people like playing the shows is probably always going to be like rotating because everybody's busy.
Yeah. Well, that's so impressive. Even when I was listening, I was gonna ask if there were more of you, like, because like you describe, I think, in your website and like across your media platforms that you don't bind yourself or bound yourself to one genre. You do a multitude of genres. Um, so I was like, oh, was there a different singer for a different like genre type? Because if you listen to like your song Swollen and then you listen to what was it? It was Blinking Yellow Lights. Like that's two very different, like I feel like voice styles. Like
Yeah.
how do
I
you do
mean,
that?
so
Like so impressive.
but thank you. I still think I can't sing very well. And I think like that's probably because that's probably like the last instrument I learned. I think it's because I never really considered my voice an instrument until I had all this stuff recorded. And I was like, oh, dude, I got to find a singer or just do it myself. And so I started to actually try to like learn how to use my throat as an instrument versus just like, trying to sing along. And every I mean, you could probably even tell, like you just said, there's different songs. Every single song just kind of comes out different. And whether I start it with like a horn part or a bass part or drums, kind of changes how that's going to be. Like whatever I hear in my head is what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean like I when I started listening to your music, I listened to Fake It, then Swollen, than Blinking Yellow Lights. And I was like, whoa, is this a different artist each time? Which is so impressive that you can do that. And I think that's awesome because I feel like a lot of artists bind themselves to one genre, and then that lack like that kind of limits the creativity and like collaborative efforts too. So I think that's really cool. Do you have like a musical inspiration or like someone who you really like and who you want to draw like elements of their music like to your own to
I
translate?
mean, not really in particular, but I think when you listen to certain songs, you could definitely listen to certain songs and be like, oh yeah, he listens to this, he listens to that. But it's all over the place. Like Beck, Frank Zappa, Streetlight Manifesto, and then metal, like Between the Buried and Me, and like Iron Maiden, and then you name it. Like unless it's like a rap artist, like I think they're probably comfortable to say like there's some kind of something from them in there. I haven't rapped.
I bet you could though. Like that would be so cool to see. When I listened to Blinking Yellow Lights, it reminded me of, have you ever heard of Mount Joy?
I've heard a little of it, not too deep, but a bit.
Right. I was so excited when I heard that song because I was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of Mount Joy, which is like one of my favorite bands. So I really appreciate you incorporating elements into that song. Like
Yeah,
I got
and with
excited.
that one, like I don't even know like if there was like an aim where I had like maybe listened to something that week or earlier that day. And that's one of the songs where I think it was like I was driving home one night, thought of it, and I was like, it's cool. And then the next day I just top to bottom recorded the whole thing, and then I was like it. And I couldn't tell you what was going on in my head.
Wow. Now, did you start like you said you started when you were three, when throughout like high school and middle school, were you like in band? Were you in marching band, drumline, like that kind of scene? Or was it more like this is something you did like as a hobby, independent?
It was more like do it with my brother type thing, do it, as a hobby type thing, and we could do it ourselves. They tried when I was in Margaret Mason, North Wildwood Elementary School, to get me into the band, and it was just like I was. It wasn't me being, a turd or anything. I was way ahead of everybody there. Like I wasn't trying to play like just quarter note, quarter note, quarter note all day long. Like I was at that age. I had an instructor who lived in Linwood. His name is Ed Shea. He was actually ended up working with like Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy and Ted. He was in the movie Ted actually.
Oh my
When
gosh, that's so cool.
yeah, when I first started dating my wife now, we were in the movies watching Ted, and I stood up in the theater like so excited. I was like, "That's Ed," and she's like, "Who is Ed?" I'm like that's my drum teacher when I was younger.
Oh, that's
And but like that guy was teaching me everything. He plays Broadway stuff like that. So like I was at a young age, able to spot read most percussion music. And there's still stuff now where it's like, oh, I can't read that. I got to sit down and study it. But for the most part, like I was beyond, fourth, fifth grade snare drum.
Wow, that I do know what you mean because I did play an instrument throughout elementary school and high school, and it was very like in elementary school, all quarter notes, like barely
Yeah.
keep a beat.
But like that's the
Yeah.
level I'm at right now with like trumpet or piano. I would do that with, even though I'm 30, I would totally do that with piano like right now.
Yeah. So I have to ask, why Dog Beach?
So I don't really do it much anymore, but I was in like a habit of everything went in the calendar. And I used to take my dog to work with me all the time. So like in time of her name's Bear. She's a miniature Labradoodle. And I used to take her to the Dog Beach, which was around the corner from where I used to work in Wildwood, which is actually a radio station, 98.7 The Coast and 106.3 WJSC. It's an alt rock station in Wildwood. 2 blocks away is the Dog Beach. So in my calendar, conveniently labeled, was just Dog Beach.
Oh,
And I
that's
was like, that sounds cool.
I love that. See, I was thinking of different scenarios in my head of like what it could be, and that's really cool. I like that. Now, did you design the album covers yourself?
No, I kind of sketched some stuff on paper and took a photo of it and sent it to an artist that I knew from the past. And he, I like his style, so he kind of rolls it out pretty quickly, and I can send him something. He comes back the same week with it.
Nice. Because I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of, have you ever seen the show BoJack Horseman?
Yeah,
That's what it reminds me.
yeah, I can see
Every time
that.
I look at it, I'm like, BoJack Horseman. I can't describe it, but I guess like dogs acting like people, you know. Um, but yeah, that's why I actually really liked your album design because I was like, ooh.
Yeah, and I think that's like even when if I were to send music out to people like, hey, what do you think about this? It's surprising um how many people comment on just the graphics that are attached to it. And I'm like, I'm not really interested in what you think about that. I want to like listen to the song, tell me what you think about that. But at least I know that because of that like imagery, people are definitely more likely to click on it. And
Yeah.
I think that's important. So I think I'm happy I found that. I'm happy I found that style. And yeah, that's something that I found. Nobody wants to click on something that looks like so plain and simple anymore.
Right. Yeah. Even like your merch like looks really cool. Like it says like Dog Beach and then there's like a dog on one of the shirts. Like
Yeah.
I feel
Those are I picked the dog off the album cover and just pulled his vector layer out of Illustrator, and that
I
was
love
that.
it. Nice. I love it. I love it. Um, what was my other question? So I had many questions, so it's hard to choose which one. So I saw on your website that you're coming to Philly in March. Is that correct?
Yes, currently we're booked 24th at Dobbs. We're
Okay.
playing with a band called Blanket Approval from New York City. We've been talking to them for a while, and then I have no idea who else is on it. I don't know anything besides that. Um, we both talked to the promoter. I had got them on the show, and I still need a flyer. I still need all that fun stuff, but it is confirmed. And then I have an April date in Atlantic City and an April date in Connecticut coming up as well, which we'll see. I think it was pretty cool. Like, I said I was turning down shows. People from places I've never been, like Connecticut, they're like, hey, do you want to come play a show? And then I look at my Spotify artists, and I'm like, hey, there are people who listen to me in New Haven. Why not?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. What can people expect from your shows? Like just like the atmosphere, the vibe, maybe like a little like sneak peek of the song selection.
Oh, I've no idea. And the 24th, I have like another tentative show that was supposed to be on the 12th in Philadelphia that I never heard from the person who asked me to do it. So I was like, yeah, I'm good for it. If you pull through and say, hey, okay, I'm there on the 12th, but otherwise 24th. Those would be the first shows. I don't know. I mean, it sounds good when we're playing it at practice, but I guess we'll find out.
Do you kind of like um do you have like a set list or do you kind of like when you're on stage like just like go with what feels right?
I'd say probably like the week of, like, I'll probably arrange a set list and put something together based on how many people and who I have playing with me. Because I think like the drummer I have at Dobbs on the 24th will probably be different than the person I have on the 15th versus the 8th. So um if the one guy's available to play drums, the other one I can throw on a guitar, which means that I can play saxophone or keys or whatever. So that means that I could play like the ska songs or whatever if I wanted to. So it's all about you, who's available, how many people can show up. But that's also why I started recording stuff that has more electronic drums or is just an acoustic guitar. So if I do find myself where it's like, hey, can you come out and play a half-hour set solo? I'm like, yeah, totally.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
So I just tried setting myself up for yeah, I could play no matter how many people want to show up.
Nice. Yeah. Now you're also performing at, I believe it's called the Elephant Talk Indie Festival. What is that? I've never heard of that before. Can you like describe what that
So that's been going on. I guess yeah, it's the 14th one. I made the flyer for Jerry.
is? Nice.
He's a friend of ours, Jerry Ryan. He puts together all sorts of festivals, which are mostly fundraisers for autism awareness and things along that line. He does a lot in the community for kids with autism. His son Jeremy has autism, and so he's really involved with it. And also super involved with local music. My other bands have played on it. Most local bands in this area, hop on, do it. It's a fun day of everybody, hang out, and just do your thing. So it's that's pretty much what it is. It's just, and then he actually has more than just the 2 days on that flyer. He added a third day, so it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday now. So yeah, anyone listening, check it out. Elephant Talk Indie on Instagram. He's got flyers, stuff like that, and support it. And he's doing all sorts of fundraisers for autism awareness in the community. So definitely check it out and help out if you're able to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you know any of like the other bands that are listed on that flyer? Or are you like familiar or
I don't like know them like on a personal level. I do know like most of those bands I have played with my other bands, or I've seen them at other local shows. But I don't think I'm on like the first name basis with like
right?
anybody on that flyer besides myself.
Right. Well, I had to ask because it seems like you have like a lot of connections here and there. So I didn't know if like you knew any of them or collaborated with any of them, but
No, I mean actually with the collaboration thing, that's new to me too. Like I got a message from someone called Livy Hepler. She goes to Penn State University, I believe.
oh,
And I was like, oh yeah, totally. Like you want to do a collab? Awesome. I've never had anyone ask me that before. And Livy can sing very great. And we have a song that is going to be on my next release, which originally was supposed to be an EP, and it very, I don't know if it's slowly or fastly turned into like 11 songs. So I guess it's no longer an EP.
um,
And yeah, she sent a verse over for a song called Shame, and it's a good one.
nice. What's her like kind of style? Like what? Because I know you do multiple genres. Like what's her?
Um, so if you check her Spotify out, it's Livy Hepler, not Helper, Hepler. So get your P and your L in the correct order. Because I spelled it wrong looking for her the first time. She got an acoustic song called Cherry Pie. It's solid, great singing, and some other tracks that are just in other areas like alternative or electronic area. So I kind of respect it's going all over the place, just like my stuff is, and you can expect that whenever we decide we're done with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That sounds awesome. Now, do you have a favorite song that you just like in general or like to perform either on your old Dog Beach album or the new album? I believe it's Playa del
uh,
Perros.
Playa del Perro, which is just
Perro.
beach of dog or dog beach in
Okay.
Spanish.
Oh, I
So
get it now.
yeah,
I took like 3 years of Spanish. It didn't click.
it actually took a lot for me to not name the next release like Dog Beach in French or like some other language. I give it just a different title. But my favorite song to play, like for to perform, I think Dead's pretty cool. That's the opening track on the Dog Beach EP. Um, and I think when I did the interview on WFLR, which is or LFR, whichever order that is, Stockton University, I told Matt the same thing. I was like, yeah, Dead's sick, but that's like the least listened to track on
Oh, really?
Spotify.
I mean,
It's
I
like
know my
all of the
favorite.
songs where I'm like, this is sick. Everyone else is like, oh, I think otherwise.
I do like it. I will say Fake It is definitely my favorite. I have to say that's
Thank
definitely
you. I think a lot of people like Fake It. With Fake It, like when I made it, I first like I was like, yeah, this is the best one. It doesn't mean it's my favorite, but I definitely like I acknowledge it. Like it's probably like the easiest for anyone to hop on board with and sing along to.
right. Yeah. That one and definitely Blinking Yellow Light because that's like my genre right
Yeah.
there. Like that's like what I'm into. Like Mount Joy, the band that I mentioned before, they do a song called Bathroom Light that like
Okay.
kind of reminded me of, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. But yeah. Um, So, is there anything else that you want to tell the Westchester area about yourself or, your music? Any lingering
Um,
that you want people to know?
I mean, if anybody ever wants to, you know, hit me up and try to do a collaboration or do a show together or anything like that, feel free to send me a message on Instagram or get my email from the Dog Beach website, and we can talk about it. That's pretty much it. And any suggestions, comments, or concerns, I'm hoping to.
Right. Yeah. We'll definitely have to have you on air. I apologize that we couldn't have you like on
Oh
air.
no, that was my fault. I had a hectic week where it was better off that I had to reschedule anyway, because like I told you earlier, I had to take the kids to the doctor and one was throwing up and it was chaos.
Right. Life happens, man. Life happens. Well, I appreciate you doing this interview with me. This was awesome. We always like to hear from local bands and kind of promote them because, you know, we're a radio station. We want to get, you know, your voice and your music out there. So it was great to talk to you and hear about your music and your inspirations. I really do appreciate it.
Oh,
Even if
totally.
it was virtually, it was really cool to like get to know a little bit who you are, like your music. So we really appreciate it.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And it's it's awesome. This is the second interview I've ever done as the one
Really?
being interviewed. Like I said, I used to work in radio, so I've always been the one doing the interviewing. Like I would read the news and weather for the radio station. So I was Robert Michael from the Coastal Broadcasting News Center.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So like if I really wanted to, like I could still like do that deep voice where like this is Robert Michael from the Coastal Broadcasting News Center. And it's like,
Yeah, this is actually my first interview I've ever conducted because I just got this position as multimedia director and I really wanted to get more involved and
mhm.
like kind of show off a little bit and you know get a good rep.
That's good. You did a good job, conducted it well. That's awesome.
Good, yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, everyone, that was Dog Beach. Thanks for tuning in and keep updated on the Instagram in order to watch more interviews like this. Thanks, guys.